All right, good morning, everyone. Andrew Kircher from Port Huron Museum. We are once again going on one of our field trips. I decided to switch things up just a little bit today. Normally I do this at the end of the video, but I want to take this opportunity to remind everyone that if they like these, to like these videos, share them, comment on them with your friends. That's what really helps us out, as well as going directly to the museum's website. We enjoy bringing you guys history as much as we can, but in order to keep doing that, we really need you guys' support. This is a great opportunity to become a member of the Port Huron Museums. Now, I am standing on some railroad tracks, maybe not the safest place in the whole world, but I checked really carefully. There was nothing coming for a little bit where I'm going to be standing here. This is a really, maybe not a frequently visited site of Port Huron. I know I'd only been here like once or twice. If you didn't live in this neighborhood or in this area, you might not know where we are. But we're going to, I'm going to flip my camera around here. And as you probably saw by, what I called the video, we're at 32nd and North Street. All right, so 32nd and North. And North is a one-way street, and we're going to walk the opposite way just because we can, because we're walking. And we're going to make a little loop. And we're going to be talking about a neighborhood whose name even has a little bit of controversy. I don't want to get any hot water, but some people, I am a stickler for history. I mean, that's no surprise. So I like to call this area South Park. And I think that's what a lot of the residents were calling it. That's what it was called for a very long time. It's kind of been renamed Lincoln Park because of the school that was here. And we're going to walk past that site and talk a little bit about this area. So this neighborhood, South Park, Lincoln Park, whatever you want to call it, goes from 32nd behind me over to the river. And Dove Road, and we're in kind of the south of the city. This is about as far south as you can go in Port Huron and still be in Port Huron. You can see this is like a mega boulevard, I guess, because you've got North Street and South Street and a big area in between. It's a really cool vestige of something that was pretty cool. I'm still working with my sister. Got me this nice gimbal. It's kind of like a steady cam, so hopefully no one needs Dramamine to watch these anymore. You won't be bouncing around, although I'm still learning the controls a little bit, so if things go a little screwy, that's why. Now, this neighborhood was requested by a number of people, and it is a really cool history. There's a couple of great write-ups on it in the paper. Another great place for some information, and another great place for some information generally, is the Port Huron Area Historical Preservation Society. It's a bit of a mouthful, but I'll link that in the comments. You can go and take a look there. They started, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago, it looks like, but they've got some great history on this neighborhood. So the neighborhood goes back about 120 years. You can see there's a great big open green space here, and a lot of the homes are older homes. So some are from 1901, some are from later. I guess this one's probably from the teens. This is nice, kind of halfway in between, a bungalow and Queen Anne. It's got that cool arch up there. I really like that with the fish scale on it. But then you also have some very traditional, like 4 squares, like this guy, like the chimney up right in the middle with a nice porch. We'll look on that side as we come around the other side of the block. So we'll look kind of just on this side. But I mentioned the area was named Lincoln Park, and that's after the Lincoln School, which was built in 1904. So 1904 Lincoln School is built, and we'll go by where that was located because it only stays put until 1977. But the real reason this neighborhood kind of exists is because of something called the Factory Land Company. That's what makes this area really unique, is this neighborhood was planned, but it wasn't planned by a municipality. This is one of the first times this starts to happen. You see this a couple of places, like the Pullman company that made the Pullman cars in Illinois. They had a factory city combination. Probably the most famous one in this area is Marysville. We think about Will St. Clair Automobile Company, and basically that's the reason Marysville exists. It's a planned community. Trees here. I'm sure this looks very nice when it's not spring. By the way, we'll get back to that story, but if you want to go architecture looking, or you ever want to take pictures of a building, spring is the perfect time to do it, because you can, not today, it's kind of cloudy, but you can get these nice, shiny, bright days out, and there's not a ton of green on the trees to obscure the building. So spring is like the perfect time to go out and take some of these pictures. Here's a nice little square cottage. I like the triangular dormer up there. It's nice. It's kind of cute. And we've got, this has got some bungalow. These are battered arches, the way those arches kind of taper in towards the top. That's something you see a lot in the teens and the 20s, part of that kind of arts and crafts movement, really popular that way. Nice, maybe enclosed porch. Not sure if that was always built that way. There's a cool looking Dutch colonial up there. But anyway, sorry, we've gotten like 3 sidetracks here. But Marysville is built as a planned community for the Will St. Clair Automobile Company. We think of that as a planned community. This is a planned community as well, from the Factory Land Company. Right around the turn of the century, we can see more of the park there. Around 1900. Hello. I promise we're staying socially distant, but it is nice to wave at other people and say hello. So around 1900, Port Huron's looking to expand. There's more and more industry in the area, and this area is highly underdeveloped. So the Factory Land Company purchases this huge amount of land, and they want to offer it to factories. They want to entice more machining, more factories. Today, we think of factories as maybe not like the best thing to have in your neighborhood. But 100 years ago, 120 years ago, people thought that's a great way to expand. So they buy up the land. A number of businesses move in. South Park Machine and Supply, which becomes the Moak Machinery up on Moak Street, just a couple blocks north of here. I like this kind of Dutch colonial goes the other way. Nice long way, and it might not even show up very well, but it's a nice light green. One of my other favorite of the factories that move here, at least by the name, I couldn't find out too much else about them, but I didn't dig terribly deeply. In 1926, a company called Little Foundries Incorporated moves into the area. You know, that's how cute. Little Foundries. I have to imagine that it was the most industrial, heavy industry you can imagine. Here's another place. I like some of the fenestration going on here. So you got rectangles, there's a diamond, there's even like a circular porthole. I like that. I'm an eclectic kind of guy, so I like all of the different types of windows you can see. Plus I like the yellow of that house. There's another kind of bungalow arts and, well, more arts and crafts than bungalow. Oh, there's a nice little Gothic revival. We can see the barrage board up there and the brick. So you can see some of these styles, like there's no law that says, oh, it's the teens, you can't build this type anymore or use this style. So that's a very pretty house. I also really like, I'm partial to mustard, so I really like the color on this guy right there. Some land here was built for parks. We'll give you again an idea. We've got this great big vacant green space. I guess I shouldn't say vacant. Green space is intentional, and it's a good thing to have. It's something you definitely want. It was designed that all these people who lived in these houses would work in those factories and go and enjoy that park. There are some great images of how the park would have originally looked. Like, they didn't originally have a basketball court in 1904. I'm not entirely sure if basketball had been invented by then. I don't really know anything about sports, but I imagine that was not there. Certainly that wasn't there, but still, same idea, having a nice green place to come and visit. So after World War II, some areas, industry had been shifted. People wanted some more park. Some other big kind of milestones in the history of the neighborhood here. In '54 is when you see the Our Lady of Guadalupe mission open up, which is on 32nd Street, just a little north of where we started our walk. So you can see it's the James C. Atchison Playground. Atchison, obviously, huge philanthropist in the area, helping to pay for those nice parks. Look, there's another one of those big arched gables there, arch in the gable. It's pretty cool looking. In 62 is when you have Knoxfield. Knoxfield's a couple blocks north of here. And there's been quite a bit of controversy over Knoxfield and its expansion. There was a number of times where the city wanted to maybe take that away, add it to a factory. It kind of goes back and forth and back and forth. There's a nice little tower, nice Queen Anne home with a nice big porch. And I also really am digging that statue. I love yard statuary a whole bunch. I also really love porches, like above porches. That'd be a great place to sit out and watch the neighborhood, see what's going on. Got another, I like the use of cobblestone here. It's very like arts and craftsy, which is cool. I like that a whole bunch. We got a blue house here. Now, I need to take a small digression because I just want to point out, now there's a 76 license plate, but this is a 77 Lincoln. This is a gorgeous piece of American automotive heritage. We're just gonna have to take a brief walk around and take a look at this. Yeah, I think that's a 77 or maybe a 78, because that's really the only differences in those wheel wells. Hey, how's it going? Is it 77 or 78?
Yeah, why?
We're just going on a walk with the museums, walking around looking at the neighborhood, and had to take a look at your gorgeous car. Like it a whole lot.
Check out that bumper sticker.
Yeah, so we did. We walked around and took a look. I like the color a whole bunch. But we're talking, you can check us out on Port Huron Museums. We're doing a history of kind of the South Park, Lincoln Park neighborhood. So, love the car. We kind of had a brief digression there. That's one of, I think, the largest production automobiles. 7 already went smaller because of the gas crisis. Lincoln went bigger. Yeah, big 460 in it, huge engine, huge length, like 21 feet long. It's like riding on a couch if you ever get the chance to ride in one of those. So anyway, we're coming here. We were at the gazebo. We're walking down. We'll maybe make a nice little loop around. We're coming up to, I think this is Electric here. Yep, so this is Electric and North Street. In 1977, there was a coalition formed, the South Park Coalition. They wanted to build a big new scrap metal plant in the area. People were kind of sick of additional factories being opened up in the neighborhood. So the coalition's formed to kind of save the neighborhood. Here we can see the garden. The garden's not looking so big right now. It's just not in bloom yet. I'll give it a couple weeks for sure. So you can see the, again, Lincoln Park sign. In fact, the home right over here, I think it's the Connor house if I remember correctly. That's like 1901, this yellow guy here on the corner. That is like the very first house built in this planned community. So they spread all out from there. Again, the idea was that these would be houses for the factory workers, as well as, you know, everybody else who's going to be working in the factories, the foremans, the supervisors. It is, yes, it is Boulevard. I misspoke. Sally pointed out it is South Boulevard and North Boulevard. Boulevard because it's got this great big separation. Beginning when I talk, it's like a hyper boulevard. We got a nice mansard roof over here, kind of a more modern interpretation, and a nice forest square up there. So the neighborhood has seen Some real rough times, that's for sure. With the heavy industry located around, we are obviously right across from, oops, I went the wrong way there. We are right across from the heaviest of industry in Canada as well. The Connor Street pub is up there. But the people here are really resilient. They have really rallied around the idea of the park here. And it is one of the coolest historical features in town that is a remnant of that early industrialization area. So like one of the other factors here, oh, you want to see something really cool? Look at this backyard. This is gorgeous. There's this little like arts and crafts shed and a pond. Kudos back there. That is really slick looking. I like that a whole bunch with the trees there. It's like a nice up north getaway right here in the middle of the city. It's an up north getaway on South Boulevard. I like that a bunch. Here we've got another tower, another Queen Anne here with the with the blue, nice little bay window back there, and again that nice double-decker porch. I like the double-decker porch a whole bunch. So the Port Huron Engine and Thresher Company is one of the big companies that sets up shop in the area. They build kind of a secondary factory in the area. And if you don't know, oh well, thanks. I promise I don't know them. I did not pay these people to drive past and say they liked me.
I followed you. I know him.
Yeah, well, it's another one of our cool neighborhoods. So out doing our live field trip.
Thank you very much for doing that.
Oh, well, glad you like them. I promise they're not a shill. Hello. We're just doing another one of our neighborhood tours from Port Huron Museum. So talking a little bit about the history of South Park, and I think it's a really cool neighborhood. So out saying hello to some people, but staying well socially distant. So we're live with a whole bunch of people on board.
Hey, I don't want to hear it. Okay? Really. I don't want to hear it.
Have a good one. So, anyway, the Port Huron Engine and Thresher Company, they were making these big steam traction engines. The steam traction engines were used all over the country. There's a great example of one at Greenfield Village. If you ever get a chance to go down there. One of the neat things about them, they basically were a way to provide power to farmers in an era before like automobiles and tractors as we know them. So they're just like a train you can steer without rails. They're enormous. They're a mobile power plant, and they would have different ways. We're going to walk over here and take a look at the rock, because this is where Lincoln School was. Again, another shot of some nice looking homes in the neighborhood. There's another neat connection with this Port Huron Steam Traction Company. So if any of you have ever looked up, or you've ever been researching craft beer or anything like that, you might find there is a Port Huron brewery. The Port Huron Brewery, or Port Huron Brewing Company, is actually in Wisconsin. And they don't export to Michigan. You can't get it here unless you like drive and pick it up, which if anybody ever does drive and pick it up, the museum would love to have a bottle. I promise. It'd be pretty cool. The reason it's called the Port Huron Brewing Company, it's not named after the city of Port Huron. It's named after a Port Huron engine and threshing company. They've got one out there, and the Todd says there might be one at the St. Clair County Farm Museum. There might be. I am not 100% sure. That's a good question. If you know, throw it up in the comments. But that's what the brewing company is named after. All right, we've made it out to the little monument here. The site of the former Lincoln School, 1904 to 1977. This was dedicated by the South Park Heritage Group. I love seeing local heritage groups. I know they've been pretty active. They're probably not meeting right now, but as far as I know, they were still meeting, and they were still meeting at, it's a cool looking rock here. They were still meeting as of a couple years ago at the Our Lady of Guadalupe mission. All right, so anyway, this is where the school was. Obviously that school came down. It was a pretty big defining characteristic for the neighborhood. There is hello, not too bad. We're just doing a little history of South Park. It's a beautiful day to stay outside, even if we have to be all socially distant. But
Your 21st birthday?
happy birthday.
Okay,
Yes, happy birthday. And you can check us out at Port Huron Museum.
all right.
So it's where we've been doing these. There's another style mission buildings. Now I'm sure somebody probably in the comments can tell me like what building this is, because I don't know off the top of my head, but I really like that. It looks kind of like the Alamo, and I like that a whole bunch. There's another Queen Anne style house here. Hello. Not too bad. Now we're almost back up to where we started. We've almost made a nice loop, and you can just see just how big this park is. I know this one might be one of our longer videos, but hey, nobody else has anything better to do, right? But that tells you the size of that park and the importance of that park to the neighborhood as a whole. This would be a great place for people to come and congregate. So all the people honking, you can hear again, somebody's having a 21st birthday back there. A pretty lonely one, but not too lonely when people are at least able to honk and drive by. There's another great little porch up there. I'm not sure if you could actually go out on that one, but get another good example of that kind of arts and crafts movement. You see a lot of those. We've talked a lot about that. I don't know how much I've talked about, you know, what the arts and crafts movement is, but to boil it down, it's the idea that like handmade things can be just as beautiful as things made by a factory. It's kind of a rejection you see in the late 19th century, so the late 1800s, as things have become heavily industrialized, things started to be mass produced. Arts and crafts gives you a chance to show off, like, hey, let's not forget that for millennia everything was handmade, one of a kind, and there's a certain beauty in that, even if it doesn't all match or it's a little wobbly or uneven. So there's something to be said about that. It's a gorgeous garden here. I think this would be very pretty in a couple of weeks' time. Things are warm out. Here's a nice four square. They are kind of the most staple house that you can find, but hey, houses are for living in. Todd mentioned the Southside Music Festivals in Lincoln Park in August. We'll see. Lots of things have been changed up. I know one of the museum's big events that we help with in August, unfortunately we've canceled Sandfest for the year, but it's not really too big of a surprise, and we'll be back the year after, bigger and better than ever. I like this place has a very tiny garage. A lot of these houses obviously were built without garages. In 1900, I'm betting there were 0 cars in Port Huron at all, and very few until the 19-teens and 20s, where you start to see a large number of people who owned vehicles. So there's no point to a garage. It's one of the reasons you see these neighborhoods set up, that they're very walkable. You'd be able to walk to your factory, walk to a grocery store, walk to your friend's house, walk to the bar, walk to whatever you wanted to walk to. You didn't need an automobile. So Janet mentions that they might not be having a music festival. Maybe come back, who knows. We're in kind of unprecedented times. There's another nice house here. I like this one. There's like a number of little pediments here, so a bunch of triangles on triangles that go up on each other. Kind of like this. It's a subdued gray, but kind of matches the weather today. There's something, there's a whole theory about, you know, whether houses should be, you know, cool tones or warm tones. A lot of people said, oh, if you live in a cool climate, you should have a warm tone house. A lot of people say, no, it should match the neighborhood or the climate you live in. I guess it's all personal preference, right? I'm glad that everybody likes something they do, some things that I don't. You know, my least favorite architectural style and I'll probably get a lot of flack for it because I know a lot of people will really like it, is like log cabin, rustic. Not even like real log cabin, the kind of stuff that you see like, that looks like, I don't even know a good example that everyone would know. My go-to example is always the Dixie Saloon. Hello! How's it going? In Mackinac City, lots of like logs, and it looks like people just like use sticks to make the bed frames, like just rustic looking. It gives me the shivers. I don't like it, but I'm glad that everybody likes something different, because I know there's a lot of things I like that other people hate. I really like Googie style architecture, the 50s and 60s. We haven't seen a great example of that on our tours yet. I'll have to go find one, but stuff that looks like it belongs in the Jetsons. I'm a huge fan of that. Anyway, we are about back to where we started. I know this one was probably a little bit longer, but we covered a nice little loop here of North and South Boulevard, walking around Lincoln Park, South Park area, learning a little bit about the industrial history of the area, and looking at some of the cool houses. It's really a unique place to see a planned neighborhood like this. It's not planned by a municipality, but planned by private business interest, and done a good 20 years before Marysville, and the same kind of idea, and well before like the planned communities you see in the 1950s that we famously see. So I'm sure there's probably I'm sure on all of these there are facts I've missed out. I never intend to leave like anyone's house out or leave some part of the story out. There's always more to be told. These are just meant to give you a little bit of a taste, give you some inspiration to go out and look at your own neighborhood on a nice walk. It is warm enough out. I know people are itching to get out. Remember to be socially distant. We don't want this going on any longer than it has to be. But it's still good to get exercise. It's still good to get fresh air. And that's a great opportunity. It's just a simple walk. Doesn't cost anything at all. So again, now we are back all the way at 32nd and North Boulevard. Whoa, sorry about that. We're all the way back to where we started. And there we go, 32nd and North. So I want to thank you all for coming along. Hopefully you enjoyed the walk today, and as always, share this with your friends, tell us others about it, and you can support us on the Port Huron Museum page and the Port Huron Museum website. We love the community support we've gotten from this. We'd like more. We'd love to see more members come out of this, and any suggestions of where we go next, throw them up down in the comments. So thanks for coming along. Till next time.